Today, I'm going to be talking about the Pokemon that's bringing the boom to Inyu, so to speak, Screamtail. Now, Screamtail is a very unique Pokemon in the sense of it not really following what you would anticipate its stats and to an extent move pool indicate. While defensive Screamtail sets exist, and they're plenty viable, although you don't really see them that much anymore at all, I would argue Calm Mind Screamtail to actually be quite strong in NU. 65 special, what are we doing? What are we doing, chat? And of course, y'all been enjoying the daily uploads, and I know y'all like the daily uploads. I'm gonna need to see everyone watching that's not yet subscribed. Subscribe! I've got a terrible headache right now. You know what? The only cure is hitting 9k subs, so let's freaking do it. So, first things first, why is defensive Screamtail kind of not being used anymore? I would argue the biggest reason for this, and keep in mind, this isn't me saying that it's literally unviable and not usable, but I think the biggest reason that you don't see it get used like it used to is compared to, say, Sylveon and Vaporeon, which are going to be the mons you're contending with for that Wish Pass role. There's just not as much incentive defensively, I don't feel, anymore. Now, I would argue versus Sylveon, there is a good bit more competition Screamtail can try and, leverage. Because I don't think the gap between those two for Wish Pass is, that big. Sylveon just happens to have a spec set that's really, really strong, and a bulky Calm Mind set that pretty much is just still the Wish Tech set, but also lets you double as a really solid sweeper. With Screamtail in this defensive set, it's kind of just I think one of the biggest differences too is just the difference in passivity, right? 65 special attack. I mean, there's a reason, right, that this mon is considered really passive otherwise, because you don't have strong moves that are worth really using. Because it's okay, Side Noise I'm gonna want to use because it at least gives me a little bit of utility. It's what else am I running? What? Boom Burst on this guy? This is not almost any ability. I do not have Pixelate. Is solo move Fire Blast kind of terrible, frankly. Dazzling Gleam? Okay, it's a little stronger, but then it has no utility. Play Rough if you wanted, because physical and special attack are the same. It's I guess you could do Play Rough, it's even stronger, but again, it doesn't really do a ton. And so, all that to say, I think Screamtail just ends up struggling with these sets because it's a lot easier to exploit. Now, it does help that you have Encore and Roar. If I could have this look nice in the set, I would, but it just goes red. But you do have these moves, and like I said, Psychic Noise too. So this gives you some, I don't want to say stall breaking capability, but good utility. Lets you shut down some of the recovery reliant mons of the tier. Also means that if a Flygon is sub DD, I mean, hey, you could still hit it, and you have Roar as well. So if it's the ZS special of bulky sub DD, hey man, I'm Sinoising you as you sub, I'm getting a little bit of chip, I'm getting your leftovers turned off, and then I'm phasing you on out as you do nothing at all. So I mean, that's pretty cool. But otherwise, it's Sylveon, as I said, right? Sylveon can go Calm Mind. Sylveon in general just has more of a powerful, generally usable set. So when I talk about generally usable, I mean, it's a lot easier to throw a spec Sylveon on a team than it is a Calm Mind Screamtail. Because in my view, at least, this set's a lot better on hyper offense, since, again, 65 special attack. You gotta find ways to compensate for that. And so, I don't really think you want to use it on, maybe a balance or a pivot spam offense or a bulky offense or what have you. But something like Spec Sylveon, you really easily can. And so it's why you perhaps see Sylveon a little bit more than you do Screamtail overall. Something like Vaporeon, well, Vaporeon can pivot. Vaporeon has the water immunity, which is just really huge for overall defensive purposes. Lets you shut down, I would argue, a wider range of Pokemon a bit more easily. So, for example, something like Basculegion. I mean, I could do Tera Water Screamtail, but if I'm a Vapo, I don't really need to Tera to beat Legion. Still gotta be careful of some stuff like Tera Blast Ghost, of course, but it's not nearly as bad. Vaporeon also, I would say Vaporeon generally matches up better into the breakers of the tier than Screamtail. Generally speaking, like, there are going to be some where Scream's got a noted advantage, right? Like Breloom, obviously. Even Flygon. Screamtail is obscenely bulky. And so, pretty good into that. Even something like Mienshao, of course, you're a pretty good check into, because the only way Shao is really doing damage is if it's Poison Jab. And Jab is just really specific coverage. You generally want the Ice move because it hits more Pokemon just off rip. You know, you could immediately blast Kilowattrel, and it gives you coverage for foes like Gligar and Vileplume as well. So, help Screamtail there. Something like Vapo's gonna have to Tera to check Mr. Mienshao. But otherwise, it's like, I feel like overall, it's gonna be either even to Vaporeon, or a little bit worse. A little bit worse is when you're looking at Pokemon like Chandelure, Hisui Taif. There's a couple others too. I guess you could argue Gigalgy, but you still have Psynoise to hit that, and also like Vapo's just as badly exploited. I guess Vapo just has, I don't know what Vapo has over it into Gigalgy. Maybe the ability to pivot out immediately if Gigalgy's trying to hard switch in on a Wish. You could at least just flip. And then I feel like that's a little bit better than Screamtail going for Psynoise and doing like 5. Realistically, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Vaporeon's what defines the Wish Pass meta. I don't think Scream is a bad option at all compared to the two evolutions. It is Omega bulky, but we're talking about this guy. We're talking about Brig of the Boom today. So why is this set so good? Well, one of the reasons is what we just talked about compared to the evolutions. This mon is really bulky. 115 HP, 99 defense, 115 special defense means this mon has a lot of chances to not only just set up once, but to get up multiple boosts. And considering we got 65 special attack, you're gonna generally need a couple boosts to really go off. 2, speed. You're able to get way faster than like any possible revenge killer. And common priority you don't care about. Kind of plays in again to how bulky you are. Like, I don't care about a Breloom Mach Punch, a Tauros Aqua Jet, a Flygon First Impression. They have to have me chipped really low for those to be coming anywhere close to starting a KO on me. So, hard to revenge kill because of bulk plus speed. Good at setting up multiple times because of bulk. Also, I got Tera Normal Boom Burst. Like, Toxtricity has shown us, for a different reason of course, and this combination is quite strong because Boom Burst is just a stupidly powerful move. You give it stab, it becomes really, really wild. And since Screamtail's coverage complements it so nicely with the Fire Blast, like, what all resists Fire Blast plus Boom Burst in the tier? Really, it's what? Like Chandelure, Taif, and then I guess Diancie? Shandy is something that often runs specs, so I have Psychic Noise. If I have a couple boosts, Shandy has to switch and take rocks. It's not really 1v1ing me, you know? Taif, even worse off, I would say, because I don't know, man. I just kind of decided Taif's worse off. Chandelure's bulk 60-90, Taif's bulk is 73-85. You know what? Taif's probably less bad off, but we're gonna just pretend Taif's worse off. I guess if anything, Taif is a little worse off because there's a little more incentive to run like Scarf. But regardless, again, you have Psynoise to hit both of them. And they're not one-shotting you with any move. So, you're pretty chill there. Fire Blast, of course, cooks all the steals. If you're worried about something like Diancie's just not that common anymore. Well, scratch that. Diancie's not that good anymore. It's still a fine Pokemon, but Ladder uses it way more than you would think. You know, like, the amount of Diancie you see on Ladder is kind of criminal compared to how good it is. So, I don't know. All that doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, the point is, this mon doesn't really have a ton of great options when you take into account how good its coverage is, how fast it is thanks to Speed Boost, and how easy it is to get multiple boosts. I mean, if you watched the video I did with Shinjineer, Alolan Muck, quite literally, unable to do anything because Screamtail got a boost as it switched in, it got another boost on the turn I Poison Jabbed, and then it just two-shot. And with Tera, I mean, I don't do enough damage. Like, that's probably also a really underrated part of this mon. Normal's a pretty good defensive typing. Even, of course, has some benefit to flipping the Psychic weakness to Ghost. You become immune to it, which is pretty cool. But also, I mean, God, it's just generically useful, because the only thing you're weak to is fighting at that point. And well, how many fighting types are trying to 1v1 a Screamtail? How much fighting priority do we have? We don't really have any. It's just Mach Punch, Breloom, really. It's quite hard for these Pokemon to really do a whole lot. And it's Psychic Noise also just having that around to throw off against some Pokemon like, say, Melodic Vapo, maybe that are trying to haze stall you and 1v1 you. It is nice that you could end up just getting them low. Plus, they can't haze away your Proto Boost, which is similarly really, really strong. And one little extra wrinkle I guess I could throw into this. Why is it so good on HO? Well, on Hyper Offense, you get to do just special setup sweep spam. You get to do special attackers like, say, PZ, Chandelure, Toxtricity. If you want to try one of the other Oricorios, you could do one of them. You got a lot of good support, though, for Screamtail, just naturally on that build. And so, when I've got mons like Toxtricity and PZ throwing off, like, absurdly strong attacks early on, drawing in a lot of the same checks that Screamtail has and weakening them, it makes this special attack issue matter so little. I have the breakers. I've got the ability to set up a ton. I've got the coverage. Despite this god-awful special attack stat, it just does not matter. Screamtail brings the boom to end you. I hope all y'all enjoyed. I'm gonna try to get some rest again. And by rest, I mean tonight, but you know the vibes. Catch y'all next time. Peace.